Broadcasting from the studios of WKEN, where every day it's the weekend. It's The Ken Calvert Show with your host, Ken Calvert.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to The Ken Calvert Show, coming to you live from the casual studios of WKEN, where every day it's the weekend. And by the way, if you wouldn't mind, would you hit me with a like on Facebook at The Ken Calvert Show fan page? All you have to do is go to Facebook and check out The Ken Calvert Show. Yeah, it's right there. I post every day, sort of doing on this date in classic rock history. Put a little time and effort into it, so I'd appreciate it. Damn it, if you would stop by and check it out. The Ken Calvert Show on Facebook. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple iTunes. You can now add it to your Alexa skill. Alexa, play The Ken Calvert Show. I have to be quiet because, it's right over my shoulder and it'll kick in if I do it too loud. So anyway, we're also up on Spotify, radio.com. That's a new one.
Just confirming. You'd like me to play Spotify?
No. Alexa, chill. Thank you. Goodbye. Anyway, where was I? We're up on Spotify, radio.com, Stitcher, and iHeart. I thank you in advance. And finally, we're up on Twitter. We're up on Twitter a lot, actually. It's at Ken Calvert Show, at Ken Calvert Show. Coming up today, we are going to go back and listen to an interview I did with the late, great. Underline as many times as you can the word great. Les Paul. Today is Les Paul's birthday. Les would have been 104 as he was born in 1915. Les Paul would have been 104 years old. And hopefully with the way medicine is going, we'll all actually live to be 104. He died at the age of 94, August 12, 2009. Had a huge hit, I think it was the year I was born, 1951, with Mary Ford, How High the Moon. By the way, I was doing some research on this. How High the Moon with Les Paul and Mary Ford was featured on the very first episode of Happy Days, and that was on January 15th, 1974. So there you go. Maybe you can use that to trivia at some point in your life. Maybe not. Les Paul was known for his multi-layered recording techniques. He pioneered what they called close miking and something else they called echo delay in part of the recording process. Now, he broke his right arm in a car accident, and when he had it set, he had the doctor set it on an angle so he could still play guitar. Les Paul died August 13th, 2009. Les Paul used to perform a lot at a club called the Iridium in New York City. In 2005, they had a 90th birthday bash for Les Paul, and of course he participated. The who's who of guitar greats were all there. They jammed. Les was up on stage, nicest guy you would ever want to meet. So that's coming up. Les Paul, happy birthday, would have been 104. Today, the great Les Paul. Happy birthday. We had a big week last week. On Wednesday, we all went out to Pine Knob DTE for the 33 Bob Seger Street unveiling, the sign unveiling. Had a great time. It was so cool. I ran into a bunch of old radio buddies. Run into them once in a while, but never as a whole group. And we all got back together again to do this unveiling of the sign. Karen Savelli, JJ, Jim Johnson, Calvert, what are you doing here? Steve the Kid Costan, the Doc of Rock, Doug Podell. A couple of great writers, Sue Whitehall from the Detroit News, Gary Graff from the Oakland Press. I don't know how they do it. Wow. I have great, great respect for writers. First of all, they're really gifted journalists, with great writing skills, and that ain't easy to do. Plus, they have a love for music, a passion for it. And I'm talking all genres, all styles, all formats. They go to all of these shows and just end up writing basically a small term paper about all of these shows. And when you think about how many shows are rolling through town, they literally see, or they could at least see, one or two shows, write an article each and every day, especially during the summer with all the shows going on. And getting back to Bob Seger, he actually was there with his family, his wife Nita and son Cole, daughter Samantha. They were all there. Everybody was in a great mood. And our buddy Bob Seger did the unveiling in what I will describe as the shortest speech ever given. Check this out.
Well, thanks everybody for coming. I got to thank so many people. Of course, number one, the fans. They're always number one. But Palace Sports and Entertainment, Tom Goris and Arn Tellem. 313 Presents, Tom Wilson and his team. Live Nation, Rick Franks, Dave Clark, Jim O'Brien, all our friends at radio, Independence Township, and it's overwhelming. I'm really happy about this. Great honor, and thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, okay, come on. Yeah, all right.
Well, now it's 2 shows down with 4 more to go before Bob and the Bullets pull the plug for the rest of the summer. You know, I asked him about 6 years ago why he stopped doing what they call the outdoor sheds, the outdoor venues like Pine Knob, DTE. And now, listen to this. This is what Bob said to me about 6 years ago. Would you ever consider doing an outdoor, a celebratory sort of thing this summer, just to celebrate all things Detroit?
Well, I don't know. I'm not
Gee, that's
really
odd.
crazy about summer. You know, it's just the weather's so unpredictable,
Right.
And we've just found that we're more comfortable indoors. It's more of a tribal atmosphere. You know, that's really where I like to play is indoors. I have for years now played indoors, and so I kind of doubt it.
All right, well, Saturday when you pick me up, is there anything extra I should pick up for us? We are going, right? While we were all there, Bob wasn't granting any interviews, and some of the TV people were a little bummed out about that. But he wasn't doing any interviews. I have a little pocket recorder that I carry with me everywhere, and as we were walking over to the sign for the photo op, I had asked Bob about his experience in New Jersey. He played in New Jersey about, 8 or 9 days ago. Bruce Springsteen was in the audience, and he looks out and points at him. There's a great picture. You can find it if you go to Google. And he was talking to me about Springsteen, and he was telling me, about Springsteen and how he has so much fun on stage. And it was a quick clip, but he gave it to me. And here, have a listen.
Well, it's just he's unafraid to enjoy himself. You know what I mean? And I'm always more shy.
Well, I don't think he seems so shy anymore.
No.
So 2 shows down. I hear they have been great. Bob won't do back-to-back shows. Nope, not anymore. No back-to-back, needs a day off or 2 to rest. Can you blame him? Now, this portion of the tour will end here in Detroit, DTE. The last show, I believe, is on a Friday night, June 21st. Take the summer off, and then he will resume on the road in September in Rapid City, South Dakota. So let's get to Les Paul from about 23 years ago, 24 maybe. Such a cool guy. I want you to think about how many guitar necks are out there bearing the name, the iconic signature of the late, great Les Paul. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Hope you have a great week coming up. We'll be back with you very, very soon. Got lots of great interviews, all restored, cleaned up, and ready to go for you. So keep it locked right here to the Ken Calvert Show podcast. I thank you for listening. Be well, be safe out there. And here is Les Paul.
And when you think about guitars, one name comes to mind, Les Paul. I mean, you are a guitar. You are the guitar.
Yeah, a lot of kids think that when they're surprised when they meet me, they say, "I thought you were a guitar." Yeah.
Well, listen, that's true though. I mean, you basically you didn't invent the electric guitar, but pretty darn close to it.
I did in my own world, back in 1928 when I took a phonograph needle and I just chucked it in the top of a guitar. It's the first one that I ever heard, although it wasn't the first guitar, electric guitar.
Now, wait a minute. Are you telling me, Les Paul, that you were one of these guys that as you would get a watch for Christmas, instead of wearing it, you would take it apart to see how it worked?
Yes.
So you had a guitar and you said, wait a minute, if I were taking the dynamics of this needle from the phonograph and the projection element of that needle and put it with my guitar, I may actually get a broader sound.
Exactly.
Wow.
What happened is I was playing a little drive-in that was out in the country halfway between Waukesha and Milwaukee, and a fellow sitting in the back seat in the rumble seat, he sent a note with the car hop, and it said, Red, we can hear your voice coming through the telephone fine, and we can hear the harmonica, but we cannot hear the guitar. Why don't you make the guitar louder? And at that time, I was using my mother's radio with batteries on it.
Yeah.
And I was getting out there with a voice coming through a broomstick with a telephone on it.
Wow.
Just a piece of wood holding it up like a mic stand. And that guy I owe so much to, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would never rob my dad's radio and put it on the other side and jab the needle in the guitar.
Isn't that fascinating? Jeez.
Yes, it is.
When I think about playing guitar, and I think every kid at some point has asked his parents to get him guitar lessons, male and female, and anybody that goes through any type of elementary education, you go to music class and whatnot, you at least fool around with the guitar. Most peel off, 99% of them peel off. As a kid, were you a virtuoso? Did you pick up a guitar and start playing?
No, you start playing.
Yeah.
And that's more fun probably than advancing in the guitar. You have so much and so easy to learn, and the guitar is such a sweet instrument that when I was unpacking it from Sears and I was in the dining room, my mother was in the kitchen, and one of the strings got caught in the cardboard when I was opening the package.
Yeah.
And a string rang out, and Mother come running in, and she says, "You play good already." And that was, I said, "Mom," and she says, "No, that's beautiful." And a guitar, you can hit anything, sour notes, anything, and they're great. They're very forgiving. Try it on a violin or a clarinet, and you got big problems.
Yeah, you've basically got a car horn.
Well, you want to kill the kid for the first 5 years on a violin.
Oh, I want to kill the kid behind me who's learning to play the clarinet. And he's just trying to learn his school's fight song.
Yeah, and on a guitar you can play anything, and it sounds sweet and nice.
Well, you know what's nice about a guitar, and I remember this because I took guitar for a couple of years, and I've never even picked one up again. But I remember one of the first things I ever learned was a song called B-flat Boogie. And that was just, donna, 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 donna. Of course, you would know. What am I doing? I'm saying to Les Paul, here's a B-flat boogie. I apologize. Don't hang up on me.
No,
but,
that's great.
And I remember my first chord, and that was the most exciting thing, to be able to just do a chord, and you say, by golly, this thing does work.
When I went to the theater and saw Gene Autry, I took a flashlight, told my friend Claude, I says, "You click that light every time I tell you now, and I'll write down where he puts his fingers."
Wow.
And the third day that Gene Autry was there, he says, "There's something bothering me." He says, "But every time I hit this chord, a light goes on down in the front row." He says, "What goes?" And so he asked me to get up on the stage, and I did, and I told him I was trying to get that Holt he was playing. And finally he says, "Well, do you play anything at all on the guitar?" I says, "A little." And he got me up on the stage, and I sang and played my guitar with Gene Autry.
So many great players, at least my contemporaries, the guys that I think of because of the fact 45 years of age, and I naturally went through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and now, of course, the 90s. But I want to throw out some names of my contemporaries and get your thoughts.
Shoot.
Eric Clapton.
Great.
I heard somebody...
He's very good.
I heard somebody the other day interviewed saying that if you want to be great, you have to be able to recognize without even thinking twice, that's an Eric Clapton lick, or that, let me throw another one, Jimi Hendrix, albeit a short life.
Fantastic player.
What made Jimi Hendrix fantastic, Les Paul?
I can't answer that. It's just that somehow he let all the barriers down and let him say what he was thinking. And that's hard to do. You usually have a lot of roadblocks.
And I think still to this day people don't realize how difficult it is to be a left-hander playing what is basically supposed to be a right-handed guitar, I guess.
That's what I call the hard way.
That is the hard way. Eddie Van Halen.
Great.
Fast, isn't
Again,
it?
his own world, and everybody goes into his own world, and then he either does or doesn't. Those that take a left turn, maybe they never get there. Great, but never make it. Others that turn the right way, they make it. And a lot of it's luck, you know that.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, how does a guy take? How do I take my guitar and get a distinctive sound out of it? Is it possible that you can even answer that for me?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, how do I do it?
Well, how do you do it? First of all, you have built in you a God gift, and that is that you can create, think, and hear. It's almost like if you go down to the music store and try to buy rhythm. You just can't buy rhythm.
Good point.
And you can't buy perfect pitch. You can develop your ear somewhat, but you just can't go down and buy a sense of humor. You just don't buy these things.
You can subscribe to the Ken Calvert Show podcast on Apple iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. It's also available by going directly to www.thekencalvertshow.com. You can reach Ken at kencalvertpodcast@gmail.com. The preceding program is the property of Ken Calvert and may not be rebroadcast without the written permission of Ken Calvert.